I'm tired. So, yeah, late night. Went to the concert. Had a blast. All the bands are super dope. I'm a big fan of DGD, so that was fun, of course. And then also seeing Sim for the first time. They're from Japan. They were super dope as well. But yeah, I rocked my eye patch and sunglasses last night, pretty much the whole time. I might insert a picture right there. And then, yeah, it was chill. Primarily last night, I mean, it was good lighting, of course. The first act wasn't that great. Second act, lighting wise, the first act is always the darkest. Usually the opening act. Second act, they might have a little bit of lights, but not really too much. And then the third act kind of picked it up a little bit. And then, of course, the whole shebang for Dance Gavin Dance. So it was lit. So I started off using my 24 to 70, and it was chill. I was gonna swap between the two to get some closer shots. I didn't really get that many closer shots, so I'm gonna have to crop some shots. I usually don't even crop, but I'm gonna have to crop a couple shots because I just used my 17 to 28 f.28. Just because I don't know, sometimes the scene was just too dark. I want to use as fast as shutter speed as possible because there was a lot of fast movement and stuff last night, and I wanted to freeze the motion as much as possible and not have to worry about it. Plus, I was kind of overcompensating because I had on an eye patch and a sunglasses. So, luckily, I got mirrorless so you can see the settings, but also I got on sunglasses so I can't really see the settings. I would have to like lift up my sunglasses like every once in a while to kind of see like how it looked on the screen and stuff like that, but I kind of overcompensated because everything was so dark to me anyway. So that's just a me issue. That's not a you issue. But yeah, so usually with shows like this, the venue wants to get pictures throughout the night of each act. That way that they can post on social media in between each act. Sometimes they do it in between each act. Sometimes they do it at the end of the night. It's like a recap type of thing. But most of the time you'll have people that want selects. Now you can do it on your phone, which is cool. I talked about that before, I think. You can do it on your phone, which is cool. I don't have all my presets on my phone. So yeah, plus I don't know, it just takes too long to send these big raw files to your phone. So I usually just bring my laptop with me. Luckily they have me a little station so I can charge up and throw my stuff on there. It is 8:15 in the morning. I got home last night probably around like 12 midnight, which is cool. Tip for concert photographers: usually you want to give people, if you can't deliver all the photos that night, you deliver some selects. Maybe if you're shooting a whole show, make sure you send at least like 5 to 10 photos of each act. That way they can have something to post. And then usually if I don't edit the whole gallery that night, I'm usually up in the morning and I am sending a folder by like 11 a.m., maybe noon at the latest. But by 11 a.m., that's usually my cutoff. You want to have that. So that way by 11 a.m., noon, 1 o'clock, like they can post their posts and stuff, recap of last night for like that engagement and stuff. So you definitely want to be quicker. And then also sometimes it's a lot of photographers at shows. Last night it wasn't really a lot, but sometimes, when we all coming up, we at those shows or those DIY shows, and you might have like 5 or 6 photographers there, and everybody's gonna be posting those, and everybody's gonna be trying to send their photos to the band first, so the band can post their photos and stuff. So that's why I usually am sending photos that night or the next morning. It's usually easy if you're shooting the opener, because while the main act is on, you could be in the green room or sitting down in the back somewhere editing, and that way you can send those photos before the show is even over. That's what I usually do if I can. But if I'm shooting the main acts and stuff, obviously you're gonna get everything the next morning at the latest. I already uploaded all the photos, so I'm gonna show you my editing process. Now, I'm assuming if you're here, you already know how to edit and import all your photos to Lightroom. I use Lightroom. If you use something else, I can't really help you with that, but some of the tips can transfer. But as far as like UI wise, I don't edit with anything other than Lightroom, so I can just show you how I do it. But everything is pretty standard. First things first, when you name your files, I just named it for the concert DGD at Radius, and put the date. You can upload individually with all the band's names, but I just did it all just as general. So we're just gonna do it like that. That's one photo I edited. Now, when I go through first initially, I just go straight through super fast. I only 5-star stuff that jumps out to me. You want to just pretty much go through. I try not to give it too much thought when I go through. It's just like, is it in focus? Is it a flattering photo? That's the biggest thing. That's when I edit it. So my criteria for photos is it well lit? Is it in focus? Or can it be saved if need be? And also, it has to pop out to me. Like I say all the time, think of yourself when you're a photographer, think of a fan. Think of something that can potentially A, be a profile picture for the person that's in the photo, and B, that a fan would potentially put as like their wallpaper on their phone. I know it's like sounds cliche, but that's really how I think about it when I'm editing stuff. So if it jumps out to you, get it. I think this band was from Slovenia. They were pretty hard. You see, this was me using my 24-70. I should have had my 17 to 28 on right here, just because of, like I said, the lights. They're mostly low. It's just house lights. They don't have their own production, so it just can be a little dark sometimes. And as you can see, my ISO is at 10,000. I'm at f4 1/250th of a second. Sometimes you can get away with a slower shutter speed if you're doing like a singer or the guitar player, but if you're doing the drummer, you obviously want to freeze that action. So that's usually the biggest thing. Want to get those big crowd shots, people in the crowd, hopefully lit up. These are just some venue shots. So you can kind of see behind in the production. Also, at this time, I think I switched to my 17 to 28, and I kept that on the whole entire time I was there. So, again, you don't want to go too crazy, but just do what you feel is right. Alright, so I combed through all the photos. I took 2,500 photos last night. I am going to, well, I got it down to 188. I don't know how many it is per band that I got. It was 4 bands last night, so 20 to 25 photos per band. So that number is probably going to drop down to about 80 to 100 deliverables. Yeah, I always say quality over quantity. As long as you got good shots, they speak for themselves. So don't just throw in filler. You want the best of the best of the best. And yeah. So I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna show you a couple low light, and then I'll show you a couple with good lighting, some decisions I made, and just talk about something different if I see something. Like I said, I'm still new to this, so hit me up in the comment section and let me know how you want these videos to go. But let me know what y'all want to know, what information y'all want to know. I'll also put my Discord in there as well. It's just called Photo Hang, but we jump on, or sometimes I'll do editing chills and stuff like that, and we can jump on and edit together. You can share your screen on there so I can check out your stuff. If you got questions, we can answer them. Usually whoever's on there with me or whatever, we can answer them. So just kind of let me know. And then also, if you want to kind of get a more detailed or more like personal, and you could just drop some stuff in the chat, and it's a decent amount of photographers and concert photographers in there now, so they can answer a lot of questions. But also me, or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram or Twitter at the Kodak Chris. So like I said, you working for the venue, I usually get a shot of the marquee. It's just always good to get a shot of the marquee, whether you're working for the venue or working for the band. Obviously, I got that banding because of my shutter speed, but I was just trying to hurry up and get in there because it was like 5:50 and the first band went on at 6. But I'll just give you a couple things. So like this, for example. As you can see, those before, that was after. Plus, I put the denoiser on it, so that was after. Now I could have just kept it as a silhouette, which is still good, but I want to give it a little pop of color, so that's what I did. This one, the same thing. It's a nice shot. I just kind of bring the tones down and make it look a little bit more dynamic. Nice clean shot. This drummer wasn't too expressive with drumming, which is okay, but you still want to get a nice, cool, like crispy shot. So you kind of want to adjust based off of like who you're taking photos of course. Another one. This one, super dope shot. Love this shot. Yeah, this one I still have my 24-70. So like I said, I'm real big on contrasty, like thick like photos, if that makes sense. So that's usually what I go with. Same thing with like this one. I just kind of bring up the highlights and everything. Also kind of want to make the photos look uniform. Again, this one, very expressive photo. Not bringing it up too much, still keeping that like shadows where they at and stuff like that. This one as well. Could be a silhouette, still is a silhouette, but I kept it kind of dark so that way it's like a moody photo. They were a harder kind of band, so like this was a good photo to kind of go along with their vibe. Obviously, if it was a pop band, you wouldn't give them one of these types of photos. But since it was like a harder band, of course, those are the type of photos that you want to give them. Yeah, the biggest thing is you want to get shots that pop out to you, that pop out to the crowd, things of that nature. Alright. So, I'll show you if I edit this one. Now, this one isn't like terribly lit, it's decently lit, and by this time I had switched over to my 17 to 28, and I believe I still have my filter on there, my Cinebloom filter. Yeah, I did. Because if you look the way that the light is hitting and it's soft right there, that's how you know I got that Cinebloom filter on. And it's like a little glowy effect, like that dreamy effect. And which can be super dope at concerts, depending on who you're shooting, what shows you're shooting. Obviously, you don't want a cinematic-y, bloomy. You can if you're doing like a hardcore death metal band, but like it just looks better if it's just kind of more like rough and like gritty looking instead of like glowy and smooth. So that was one that I edited. But like over here, obviously I have my presets. So this is my black and white preset. Now I can just bring that up. Use the eyedropper tool for the white balance. But as you can see, this one's kind of a thick edit on that photo, which is cool, it's nice, but it doesn't really pop. So I got this concert one, and then I also got a crispy cream. I also got a crispy clean edit that I made. Depending on the lighting, it can kind of bounce around, but this is kind of high and contrasty. So yeah, here, since it's more so in the shadow, I can bring down some of those whites. I can adjust the curve a little bit to soften it so it's not too harsh. Like the fall off from the shadows to the highlights aren't too much. But something as simple as this, that could be a good photo before and after. So just showing you like an example. Also, I am coming up with a preset pack. I will be dropping a preset pack. I think it's just gonna be a 3-piece, but yeah, I'm gonna drop a preset pack. I'm gonna do my black and white, my crispy clean, and I think I got one more that I'm gonna do, which is probably this my soft pastel. So my soft pastel one is nice because you can do this on concerts, you can do this on portraits, you can do this on honestly whatever you want. But it just gives it like a softer, like pastel look. I will show you on the one that is more well lit. So like it's just a softer look, and it's more of like muted colors compared to like a crispy clean, which is a very contrasty, like thick colors. Okay, so let's say this photo, nice, simple, clean photo. Now, me personally, I'm gonna go and jump over and put an edit on it. Now I could do like something like this. It's like a soft pastel one. Now I got this purple ninja. Which I kind of like this one. Not gonna lie. Then I'll dropper tool. Now this is a very well lit shot. Obviously you got this right here that is showing you got this light right here that's kind of blasting him right there, but it's just nice, simple shot. I can go in with the curve. I can bring up those blacks a little bit. Now this is a little not controversial, but some people like crushing their blacks like that. Some people like leaving the blacks thick. I just think it like gives it a nice like filmic look. Yeah, I don't know exactly what this is called, but it is, I know it kind of flattens it out a little bit. So I kind of like that. So again, purple. I don't want to see any purple at all. I want to bring back the skin tones and all that type of stuff. So yeah, this one's going in the preset pack. And again, just an example of the other one. Now this is purple, but I went with more of that crispy clean look. I could have went with the ninja and kept that look, but I really like those blues and greens and how it pops out for photos sometimes. So that's kind of why I go with that crispy clean look. Now again, I got this ninja I could throw in there. It looks great. Soft pastel. Again, it's like a light edit. It mutes the tones and stuff a little bit. Crispy clean, it just thickens it up, makes it more contrasty. I do have a desaturated like concert. It's like more of like a greenish tone. Usually if I pick this one, I'll use the eyedropper tool to like correct the white balance, but it goes more like a lightish, like bluish tone. Obviously, like I could change that up if I want to, but it just depends on what vibe I'm going for. This one is just more so like taking the natural colors of what it looks like, and just kind of making them look a little crispier and better. Hopefully I don't use the word crispy too much. Again, you can honestly go whichever way you want, but see me, I like this crispy clean look again. It's just good. I really love this preset. So you can kind of straighten everything out. Again, like you see how those highlights are harsh, but if you bring it down, it like smooths it out a little bit. Now granted, I could drop this back down, make it contrasty, but I lift up the blacks a little bit because I still kind of want to see the shadow so you can see what's going on. This shot is probably my favorite shot of the night. Again, super blown out. Like on this one, I don't think I had, I think I did have my filter on there, my Cinebloom filter, but shots like these with the lights in the background and stuff like that, as long as you shooting raw, you should always shoot in raw. You can bring that stuff back. You can bring it down. So as you can see, I did that. Now this is more of like a aesthetic shot. It just looks good. It just kind of encapsulates like the mood. You can see what's going on in the background, but it's like, this is why I'm a sucker for wider shots. Now, let me grab another shot to kind of show you. Again, now this is like another aesthetic shot. So I just did my same settings from that previous shot of Tillian. This is John, so I can go with the eyedropper tool and I can change it to look like that if I want to, but I think that's just a little too warm and greenish. Now I can go in and change the hue saturation, because you see this little purple in there. I could take that out. That magenta, I could bring down the saturation just a little bit so it mutes it some, but then also I could bring the skin tones up just a tad bit. Again, it's just nice, clean look. That's what we started with. That's what we ended up at. Again, if I wanted to use that soft pastel, as you can see, that's where it would start at. That's where it would end at. Still really good shots. You just kind of make it your own. Same thing with the purple ninja. It just gives him like a warmer tone with some green and yellow undertones. But Emo Night preset, like I said, it just cleans it up. This is more of like the natural look of what it already looks like, so that's why it's more purple and stuff like that. But I say if you're gonna go crazy, just go for it. I do have some portrait presets, which is cool. Now I have some specifically for black people, and one thing y'all need to know is, if you are a photographer and you can't edit different skin tones, I don't consider you a real photographer. I'm sorry. Now that might sound harsh, but you need to practice. You need to practice with different skin tones. Those that primarily take people who are more so fair skin, if you don't know how to edit darker skin tones, you'll usually like make them look like pasty and like they're in a casket almost. And then if you are editing with lighter skin tones and you don't know, you usually take pictures of darker skin tones, you might make it look too pink, like not really that natural. Like, you just got to play around with the skin tones. So yes, I have a preset specifically for black people, especially when I'm taking photos in the studio. Now I won't change that one. So this one is more like a aesthetic shot. Like I said, you can see this shot. I can straighten it out a little bit. Some people might like it like this. Some people might not care. If I don't really want to crop. No, I don't want to crop it because I want the whole Dance Gavin Dance in the background. But yeah, that's just nice, clean. But you want that aesthetic shot. This is like a shot you can see him posting like on his like Instagram, like, oh, like I love what I do, or you know, a banner, or like the cover photo or something on like Twitter or Facebook or stuff like that. Like, those are the kind of shots that's how I think when I'm shooting. So those are the type of shots that you want to get, just because like you want those that not only fans like, you want photos that the artist would like make their profile photo. So that's always a good tip. Again, this one, I'm gonna do this black and white just to show y'all. Now, I love my black and white preset. It's honestly hard for me not to make everything black and white. Just for the simple fact that before I really knew how to edit, which I'm still learning how to color grade and stuff like that, I used to just put everything in black and white because it was a safe color, and especially when you deal with a lot of low light and a lot of red light, like it's hard to edit those photos. I'll show you a red light photo, but it's hard to edit those photos, so it's just easy to throw it in black and white. So I like perfected like a black and white look that I really like. This is a more aesthetic shot because it has both of them in the shot. But as you can see, sometimes black and white, now this is a good shot, but sometimes black and white doesn't tell the story. This one, this one pops a little bit more because it's showing both of them, and it doesn't look too bogus. Again, I'm not a fan of purple or magenta, so I usually take it all out. But this is a good shot. Let's see. So you got Will Swan, the legend himself. As you can see, he's darker complexion. So like if I threw that black people preset on there, you see how his skin looks, how his tones look. It looks good. It just flows. Now it might not go great for everybody, but like as you can see, that's more muted. That crispy clean is gonna look different on his skin. Even like the more natural one, it'll kind of look like darker light. So you just kind of got to play around with it and see what you like. Now, again, since it's like the purple ninja, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know the color science behind it, but like this will make his skin look a little darker. So you got to kind of think of those things when you're taking photos. What's another tip? Oh, yes. Also, you always want to get dope crowd shots. Always want to get dope crowd shots. One, it just looks dope. I always try to catch people on their phone or recording or something. This really just showcases them being like in the moment. I'm getting the environment and I'm getting the venue, I'm getting everything in there so they can look at it and look back at it and be like, wow, like that was really a time. Or even like somebody that didn't come to the concert could be like, wow, that was really a time to like be there. Also, if the venue has it, getting a shot from up top can always just look good. So it just shows like how big the crowd is and stuff like that. Everything is super bright, super blown out right here. So I'm going to bring, now you can bring the exposure down. If I want to really go in and fine tune it. Now this one, I can bring the highlights down some. But you still want it to look natural, obviously. So it's just a little subtle change, so it kind of looks the same. I'm gonna go in and erase right here because I still want it to look mostly on the stage, and I can actually take that out as well. You want it to look as natural as possible. So it looks good like that. As you can see here, I went into the pit. Now this is 2,000 people, 1,800 people, I forgot. But usually when I go in the pit, I'm super nice about it. I'm usually holding my camera in the air. I tap people on their shoulders saying, "Excuse me, just don't be an a-hole." Most people at shows will let you do your job as long as you're being nice. They know that you're not going to stand there the whole entire time in their way. Just make sure you're constantly moving and moving around. Even if you're in the front and it has barricade, like you just making sure you're moving around. You in the middle of a mosh pit. You got to remember that. Me, camera strap it. Now, personally, I just got a camera strap, a wrist strap, not too long ago for situations like this because I'm crazy and I'm always in the pit. But you want to grab you like a camera strap or something just to secure it. But these crowd surfers and all of that, they'll be flying over your head, like all type of stuff. So you want to make sure you're protecting your stuff. Now, again, you can go in with like, I can go in with like my crispy clean stuff. It just kind of goes with like what aesthetic for the show that you're picking for that night. I can still go emo night. That's more classic, but like shots like these, I always want them to be more dynamic than anything. Like I said, black and white is cool, but I want these shots to be more dynamic. So that's when I go in and I'm like, you know what? These cinematic like this, I'm gonna make it a little blue. I'm gonna bring down the shadows because, and the whites, honestly, because yes, I want you to see the outline of the person that I'm shooting, but I also want you to really see like the whole thing, like the whole picture, if that makes sense. So I might drop the blacks down some, just evening out those highlights, because you don't really have to see the face of the singer or whoever it is. I can make it like that, but I'm just gonna crush it a little bit. So as you can see, it just makes it look more like dynamic. Now, is this the perfect photo? No, but it's your own style. Pick your own style. I just personally like it, and it's just like you can get those shots that there's no shots really like it when it comes to like capturing the event. Again, like I said, these are shots that you want to get that are making everyone jealous that they missed this show. Now this one, again, this is low lit, but it's capturing the environment of the show. It's capturing that. So you don't really even have to like, this is more like a silhouette type photo. Now you can crop it just a little bit to kind of have everything a little bit more centered. But these shots like this, these are shots that like you remember. Like these are shots that you can look at and be like, I was there, like I was at that concert. Now, do I want to keep like the greenish tone? Do I want to go and just do more so the warm tone? The kind of dusty tone. Again, that's more the natural tone. Soft pastel doesn't look bad. I got the ninja. Could do black and white, but it's not that much separating stuff. But like I said, these shots, I want it to be more of like a thicker contrast. I want it to stand out. I want it to look like something. Also, too, I am not afraid to use the denoiser. It's controversial, I know, but I don't care. If the shot looks dope, the shot looks dope. Now, I usually try to stay between like 35 and 40. just because you want it to look as natural as possible. You don't want it to look like an AI image, and no shade to AI images, but you know exactly what I mean. It just looks too clean. You can't see a pore, so you don't want your images to look like that. As you know, that denoise, it takes forever. So usually I tell people, if you got a bunch of photos to denoise, you could just start it, or you can color it. Put it in like a color pattern, like if you want to do red for those ready to export and yellow for ones that you have to denoise or whatever. Just do that, so that way you can select them all. And some events, they might be good, but like as you can see on this one, I'm at 12,800 ISO 2.8 and 1/500 of a second, just because I didn't want that to be blurry up there behind them. But also, it's just, you want to freeze that action. Could I have probably went slower and brightened it up? Yeah, but I knew what type of shot I was going for. I knew I was going for one of these more so like aesthetic shots, so that's why I kind of went that way with that. But yeah, if you're gonna denoise, sometimes it might be like 40 pictures, sometimes it might be 100 pictures, and it might just need a little touch. So I might throw it on there and then walk away, go make you some food or something, because it's gonna take forever. So now this is done. Again, as you can see, this is the denoise photo, and this is the photo. It isn't denoise, but my luminance is up to 25. And as you can see, even if I raise it to 40, it's still not gonna look the same as that denoise one. I don't care what people say, it looks really good. Now this is with the luminance at 0. Still, is this a usable image? Absolutely, it's a usable image, but I don't want that much grain. That's not the look I'm going for on this shot. So that's why I'm going for this. I didn't really get a lot of the goat Will Swan, unfortunately, but again, nice solid shots. And let's say if this is, I got 48 shots selected for DGD. So I'm gonna do a speed run through this. I just showed you some editing stuff, but I'm gonna just do a speed run through this, and this is how I like go in and say like, oh, yes or no. Also remember, technically it can be a good shot, but is it a great shot, and is it just filler, like you just trying to bump up the number? So that's one thing to realize. All right, here I go. Went to library because, you know, preview wise, it's just quicker. So here we go. All right, so I dropped it down to 35. I got a lot of good shots. Again, I still got to go down and edit, but most likely I'm probably gonna send all these 35. But yeah, like I said, quality over quantity. So try not to do too much. Okay, so I said we was gonna do some red. As you can see, it's not too much red. It's still kind of giving the skin tones, which is dope. So that's just gonna thicken up that look. Now you can do the crispy clean, but that's just gonna be like that blue and red, desaturated, emo night. This is one. Like I said, I got presets just for a baseline. Sometimes you can just slap a preset on and go, but I just have presets for a baseline. And this is like one of my older presets. So again, that's what we started at. That's where we're at now. You can go, like I said, more dynamic if you want. It's just something about those blues and stuff that just really looks dope. Now you can bring some of this saturation down and some of the vibrancy down, and that'll kind of even it out a little bit. But again, you don't want it to look too blown out. Now you can go in and desaturate a little bit. Wouldn't mind that. You could change the hue a little bit. The main thing, you don't want it to look dead or pale. Now the luminous you can do, but like I said, that brightens up and that darkens it. So you just got to remember you're dealing with skin tone, so you want it to look as natural as possible. So yeah, this is like the before, this is the after. Like I said, some people might like it, some people might not. Now this one, I left kind of red. Now this one is just aesthetically, like it just looks dope. And the way that their music was, it kind of matches up with the music too, so it looked dope. Like I said, whatever floats your boat, you know. If I was just gonna stick straight crispy clean, it was gonna just be more so red, but I want those blues to kind of separate it so it doesn't all look like mush. This is a preset the homie Anam gave me, which is super dope. Like I said, it's their style. Sometimes you can use it, sometimes not. Like I said, black and white looks good. It just depends. Now this one, I made black and white just because it just looks super dope. Now granted, his mouth is wide open, so technically some people might not like that photo. I wish the shadow wasn't the shadow from the guitar on his hand and stuff like that. This is what's covering his face, but like that one it's straight red. Like I said, sometimes it looks cool. Sometimes it doesn't look bad. You can use that red, but then sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I just like this one better, and black and white, and it just shows. It pops. Like I said, when you do it, I just make my black and whites a little bit more contrasty. You can bump the clarity up if you want. I don't like too much clarity. You can make it like hard, or you could just keep it where it was. It just goes off the style of what you're going for. If there were more of like a heavier band, I probably would have went harder, but I didn't need to. Again, this is red. Now see a shot like this, he's smiling in this shot. So this is one of those aesthetic shots that I'm talking about. So you kind of want to highlight his face and want something that's going to bring that out. So again, if you put the crispy clean on there, it's going to take away that. It's going to kind of blend in. Now granted, these are all just filters, so I could change it up how I want, but no, I don't really like that. Soft pastel, you can keep it that color. You can keep the red in there if you want to. Me personally, I just don't like it like that. So sometimes you can get something that works. But me personally, for this shot, I want it to be black and white. I just think it looks dynamic. It's one of those aesthetic shots that I was talking about. I might bump up the clarity a little bit, highlights a little bit. Now you can go in and brush a little bit, just because you want the fall off of the shadow. And you can bump up the shadow just a tiny bit, not too much, just a tiny bit, because you still want it to look natural. And if you want, you can bump up the clarity just a little bit in the face. Now nobody is going to zoom in this close to this shot. They're just going to look at it like this. So just a subtle difference. From here to here. It's just a subtle difference. That's right there. And I just brighten it up a little bit. Just a subtle difference. That's all it takes sometimes. I'm gonna jump back to these shots. So this was the opening act. So a lot of times these acts, they don't have a lot of lighting. It's just house lighting. As you can see, it's still kind of dark. So they can't. I mean, lighting is lighting. Like, light is everything. Photography, we are catching light. That's what we do. So lighting is everything. So sometimes stuff is just super dark. If it's super dark, like I said, you can get away with black and white. But also my crispy clean. I really just love this one if y'all haven't noticed. So I could change the white balance just a tad bit. Yeah, see, I like that more like blue, and it looks a little bit more washed out, but that's fine. I will pull down this curve a little bit so it's not such a harsh fall off in the highlights. As you can see, it blends better. I'm not gonna drop that blacks like that. Now I could leave it like that, or I just lift it up just a tiny bit. And to me, this is a dope shot. It went from this to this. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you shoot in RAW. Because you could just bring it back if you want. Another here. One of those aesthetic shots. So I like these to be a little bit more moody, a little bit more dynamic. Black and white is nice and clean. It's just too plain for me. So of course, handy dandy, crispy clean. Now, could I just also just use the previous edit that I just did? Yeah, I could, but sometimes they need a little TLC. So it's simple. Goes from that to that. If you leave here with anything else today, just remember that you can take photos all day, but you want to take the best photos. And one thing that I learned while I was figuring out how to shoot and stuff like that before I could edit, I just was like, I want my photos to be better than everybody's. I might not have the best camera, I might not have the best lenses. I started off with a little crappy crop sensor Nikon, and I was just like, you know what, I'm going to take better photos than everybody. I might not know how to edit, but I'm going to take better photos than everybody, and that's kind of what I strived on. And now that I know how to edit somewhat, it works. That's all I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna try to make this video shorter instead of longer, but hopefully it's a lot of stuff kind of showing like my process. I don't really know, I'm new to this, I'm just trying to do stuff, and I just want to put stuff out there. So I just go based off of what people want from me and what people are looking for. Like, so in the comments, write what questions you have, what type of content you want me to make, anything like that. I'm gonna do more talking head videos instead of like editing videos too. I'm gonna do a good mix of stuff. It just kind of depends on what I want to do with this channel, but I'm definitely just trying to help out as much as possible, because like I said, when I was going through YouTube, when I first started concert photography, it was not a lot of stuff. So now that it is me going on 7 years, a little over 7 years, I have people ask me the same questions that I had, and I want to make content for the things that I look for, even to this day, because I still Google stuff. So that's what I'm working on. So again, thank you for watching. If you sat through this whole thing, I appreciate you. I'm gonna link my Discord at the bottom. I'm going to link my GoFundMe at the bottom, so I can still recover and catch up on these bills from me being out for 2 months for having a detached retina. And please like, subscribe, comment, engage, interact, follow me on all social media, click that like button, click the bell so you can see when my videos come up. And I'm gonna just end it like that. All right, peace.